So,
Okay.
will
So
you
do you have any
start?
topic to start? Uh,
I have a small topic. I mean, yeah, we can start with that.
okay. Go ahead.
So, this is some kind of board is visible to you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, I just read an article that was talking about personality traits and well-being. You're able to hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you. So what is the
Yeah.
article?
So, yeah. So just to summarize, basically they point out two traits that are necessary, or they found it indicates well-being. That is one of them is extroversion, and another one is conscientiousness.
Okay.
So they found that people who are more extroverted
Okay.
and who are conscientious, they will show more, or they will have significant increase in well-being over time.
Okay.
So they talked about a lot of other things, but the basic thing, or the major findings, or the major point of the article was these 2 points, or these 2 points were the one that stuck with me.
Okay. What was that?
And was, let me write it in
Okay.
or into,
Okay. Uh,
I don't know the spelling. Maybe it is the wrong spelling.
yes.
Doesn't matter. At least you get what I'm trying to
Yes.
say. So yeah. So these two traits showed the uh, how do I
Well-being.
say, most difference in a person's well-being over time.
Okay.
So that is all about the article. But recently, I also watched Jordan
Okay.
Peterson video,
What did you say?
which was about similar things only. But basically, then I think he was addressing in the video was whether mental health is genetic or habitual, or personality based.
Okay.
And he starts by basically saying that it is actually a mixture of all
Okay.
of those things,
So is there any
right?
relation between this
But
extroversion and conscientiousness? Or
yeah, so actually, before this,
yes.
watching this video, I've, I, I mean, I had always been assuming that the definition maybe of extroversion was, I never really knew the definition, but by example, I knew that people who are
Yes.
more sociable, or are they, or who can talk easily,
Okay.
are extroverted.
So
But in this video, he gave like a simple definition of
what did you say?
extroversion, which is sensitivity and threshold for positive emotion.
That is the definition.
Yeah, people who are actually, at least according to that video, he just said one line. Maybe it is more vast,
Yes. So yeah. So
but in that video, his explanation of extroversion was anyone who is more sensitive, and has a higher threshold for fe- feeling positive emotion.
okay.
And for neuroticism, which is related to negative emotion, is someone who is more sensitive and has a higher threshold, I guess, for feeling negative emotion. So extroversion and neuroticism are opposite of each
Extroversion
other.
and neurotic. Okay. Yes. Then what is introversion?
So that
So
also means,
shouldn't an introversion be
that,
the
yeah,
opposite of?
that is what I'm thinking, because he does. Yeah, introversion basically someone who has less sensitivity for
Yes.
positive emotions, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense, because technically speaking, social situations or social environments are supposed to be what human beings find positive emotions in.
Yes.
But as an introvert, we do not like that.
Yes. Okay.
So we may have a less sensitivity or threshold for positive emotion. And by that same definition, I think if we are less extroverted,
Okay.
then by default, I guess we will be more neurotic.
Okay. Can you repeat the definition for neuroticism? What did he say?
Neuroticism is sensitivity and threshold for negative emotion.
Yeah, sensitivity and
Neuroticism denotes someone's sensitivity and threshold for negative emotion.
okay.
So someone who easily gets anxious
Oh,
or scared
okay.
or feels negative emotion in a more intense way.
Okay. Okay. Right now I'm
Because if we are,
yes.
because
Go on.
I mean, if we think about introversion in some sense, we have to be somewhat anxious about social situations for us to not like it or not take part, not participate in it.
Yes. Hmm. Correct.
Yeah. Those 2 points seem quite related. Then the other three are like agreeableness,
The other side.
basically, yeah, how is it easy? Is it it is for you to be influenced?
Uh,
He says he uses three like words. He uses maternal compassion, empathy, and tough decision making.
to characterize agreeableness or
Yeah,
something else.
to characterize agreeableness.
Okay. Yes,
And,
even okay, yeah, go finish it then.
I was going to give the definition for the other two.
Okay,
So
let's go on.
the other two, conscientiousness is he uses three words. Those are dutifulness,
Uh,
industriousness, and orderliness.
yes. People who are more disciplined and ordered, as I
Yeah, basically
yes,
discipline.
yes,
And openness is basically creativity and interest in new ideas.
yes, openness to new experience.
Yeah. So what were you going to say?
Yes, about agreeableness, I was about to say something about it. I think so. In one of Jordan Peterson's one of his videos or interviews, he mentioned that
Mm,
women in general are more agreeable than men. So
yeah,
because because of their nature, because they are not by in general, there is not all women, but in general they are more not as aggressive or something like or yes, just like men in general are more aggressive and loud, and they have a tendency to be more like that. Aggressive, by aggressive I don't mean violent, but
yeah.
they
I-
seem to be more
In terms of
energetic and
agreeableness only, I
loud.
think we can define it in terms of agreeableness. Men are less agreeable. Women in general,
Yes,
according to him, at least, are more agreeable.
yes, and that's why about what he was saying is about regarding jobs, and so he was actually training some other female employees, because the thing is that since women are more agreeable, so they don't negotiate too much. If someone says that this is your
Right.
salary, then they will just okay, I'll get this salary. So he was training these women employees to learn how to how to uh, bargain. What is the saying? What is the word? Did I
Negotiate.
say right now? Yes, negotiate, to negotiate for higher salaries based on your work and all of those things. So that
So
is what he
basically,
said. So that is
to be
something
less
from a
agreeable, it means to be more assertive.
yes. So yes, men, yes, that's yes. The men in general are they have the tendency to be more assertive and dominant than women. And what is the last openness?
Openness, yeah. It's creativity.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah. So and
Really,
yeah. So
uh,
basically, talking about these five uh, points, he says that it's not like yeah. He was talking about from the point of view of genetics.
Okay.
It is true that in some, he did not mention any numbers or percentage and all of those,
Okay.
but it is genetics does affect someone's temperament, someone's temperament and these 5 traits basically.
Yes. Yeah.
And so his point was he was trying to give the message that we should not get stuck into this mindset that why did I get this set of traits where others trait would have been useful to me.
Okay.
So he was trying to make the point that any variation of any combination of this kind of traits will have its advantage and
Yes.
disadvantages.
Yes.
So he said that extroversion is positive point will be it is a person is more social and will be more positive. But its opposite side will be that here they will be more impulsive and they will be averse to being alone.
Yes.
Neurotic people are he said that they are more sensitive to threat. So
Okay.
they will be more they will contemplate their actions more.
Okay.
And hence they may have better chance of staying alive.
Yes.
Talking in the point of view of say let's say in hunter gatherer that civilization,
Yes.
someone who feels negative energy, negative emotions more will be more what is the word alert,
Yes.
but they will be prone to anxiety
Yes.
and pain
Yes.
because of that.
Yes. Yes. That is correct.
Then for agreeable person, the positive is that they will be compassionate.
Yes, that is correct.
But if they are too, if end up also.
And
And
each and everything has its
yeah,
scope of
yeah.
finally
For
open.
conscientiousness,
Okay.
no, the conscientiousness is that
Discipline.
we'll be more disciplined, we'll have more order, and with industrious meaning, we'll have more, we will be resourceful, we will be able to convince other people that we can do something.
Yes.
But we may become obsessive.
With
That
order.
is the negative side. Yeah.
Yes.
And for openness, it's the positive is creative, of course, but the negative is that most ideas will not be successful or will not be practical. So a creative person might spend a lot of time in something that will not be fruitful at all.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, so I also think that like each and every trait has its advantages and disadvantages. So what does he conclude with?
Yeah,
What does he say at the end?
there is a little more to go through, but after this, he gives an example of creativity and mental health. So creative people are at a higher risk of mental illness, according to him, or whatever study he referred to. I don't know. So people pursuing very creative endeavors, they will, by its nature, will face a high risk, but the reward will also be high.
Yes.
And that is a very uncertain kind of situation to put someone by their own choice. Like it's not a stable ground. You are pursuing something that is very creative and it has a high risk, but it may fail and you may lose a lot. So someone with this kind of uncertainty, which will of course lead to whatever mental health issues.
Yes. And the uncertainty causes those because you don't feel safe because there's uncertainty in your life, so that is why you are actually anxious.
Yeah. Okay. And so basically, he said many people are not very creative or are not able to show their creativity because they fear failure, and because of that fear of failure, they will not even try.
Hmm.
So most people creativity are very much what is it the word suppressed.
Yes. Okay.
Another another example he gave of neuroticism,
Yes.
where basically he cited meaning he just gave us example of a study that was done on children
Okay.
that may have a higher tendency towards neuroticism. So basically, they were brought to a room with their mothers, and a toy was some kind of toy was suddenly
Okay.
brought to the room. So someone who is not neurotic, the child who is not neurotic, they get curious and they start to go and play with the toy.
Okay.
But the neurotic child tries to hide behind his mother, and he tries to like assess the situation. He kind of picks and looks at what the thing is.
Okay.
So he tells that in a like a practical situation, let's say in some children are playing at a park or something,
Okay.
and kind of a dog shows up.
Uh,
Most probably the dog is, let's suppose the dog is safe. In most cases, it will be safe to like approach the
yes.
dog.
It's a pet dog. Okay.
But in the in the chance that the dog is not friendly and
Hmm.
it attacks, then the neurotic child will survive.
Okay.
But the child who was not neurotic
Uh,
will have face some injuries, let's say.
yes. Yes.
So that
That
was
is.
another example kind of he gave where neurotic tendencies suppose supposedly the positive side of neurotic tendency.
Okay. Yes. Definitely.
But then again, he says all of this. I don't know if he says it or not, but my point is that we should not settle with whatever is like given. And the point also he makes that any trait that is not being helpful to us at any moment,
Hmm.
we should be self-aware enough to recognize that and try to change it to whatever extent possible.
Yes. That is. Yeah.
So the example also he gave was about someone trying to look for a job. Let's say he said
Okay.
uh, so so they need to prepare their resume.
Hmm.
Okay, so and he said that someone might be very afraid of like putting together their resume. They might feel some kind of self-consciousness about what should I put
Ah.
and how do I explain what I did at that point of time or
Hmm.
something like that. Right. So they might be so scared of basically looking at their own past
Okay.
that they will not even start the process of working on the resume.
Okay.
I guess this can be said as being neurotic only.
Yes. Because he's so
That is a
overthinking.
neurotic trait.
Okay.
Yeah. But in this scenario, going with your neurotic tendencies will not be
Yes.
helpful to
Yes.
what you're trying to achieve.
Hmm.
And so he says the example from the point of view of
Okay.
psychotherapy. He will first tell him to, you don't have to even, he will like first, his point is gradual
Okay.
exposure. At least in this example,
Okay.
he will ask the person to, you don't even have to look at the resume, just print it.
Okay.
Then he will ask the next counseling, next session, did you print it or not? Maybe the person will say, I could not print it even.
Hmm.
So then he will say, okay, you could not print it, no problem. Next time you go, just sit in front of the computer and think about the resume.
Ah.
Then he then next session he will ask, did you think about the
Hmm.
resume? Then the person might still say that I could not even think about the
Okay.
resume. Then what example did he give? He said, okay, we will think about it right now. Just close your eyes and like think about the resume. Basically, step by
Ah.
step, he tried to desensitize to that emotion.
Okay. Hmm.
Like many of the CBT books also I read. I've been reading so much. So all of those, the major points of dealing with any kind of, at least this kind of mental struggle, I say seems to be
Okay.
similar. Where it is, the point is of progressive desensitization. I guess you can
Okay.
say that, where if you are, let's say from the point of view of social
Hmm.
anxiety itself, if you are scared of going to a shop and asking for something,
Hmm. Okay.
start with let's start with imagining going there.
Okay.
Let's say suppose that is the first step. To the point you become comfortable enough to have the thought. After that, let's say you cannot still go to the shop and
Okay.
ask. At least go near
Okay.
the shop. Next step, if you cannot even you cannot still ask, at least you go inside the shop.
Okay.
So so basically, step by step, you expose yourself to what is the thing that is making you neurotic,
Hmm.
and over time,
Hmm.
and to whatever genetically possible, the amount of change that is genetically possible in you,
Okay.
that will happen. Because I think he also mentioned, not in this video but somewhere else, that 180-degree change of personality, I don't think it is possible.
Okay. Yes. And okay, what I wanted to say is that it is not possible, or yes, it is not possible, and you should people even try to do it. The thing is that what I think is that okay, people by default are given certain are in the spectrum in a certain render and in a certain spectrum
Yeah,
in each of these five traits. Like each like for extroversion and introversion, they are somewhere in the spectrum. Likewise, for each and every of the traits, they have a unique combination of
yeah,
all of those. So I think because but to exist in society or to live a good and a proper life, you should be able to do certain things regardless of whether you are naturally capable
right,
of doing it or not. So if because because of your default uh, set of
traits,
default set of whatever traits, you might not be able to do certain things. So you should try to focus and improve on those things. But just because certain things are not, I would say, socially much more acceptable, you shouldn't even try. That doesn't mean that you should completely try to change yourself. For example, instead of psychological, let us look at physical things. Some things like I would say, nowadays these things have been is been changing, but earlier white skin or fair skin was much more desirable.
right, yeah,
So just because you have darker skin doesn't mean you have to go through procedures to make yourself uh, much more whiter. Or tall people are much more whatever those kind of things. Based on certain physical traits are much more desirable than others. So just because certain traits are desirable than others, you shouldn't have to try to conform to those norms.
right,
But
yeah,
that is what I'm trying to say. But at the same time, certain physical characteristics, for example, obesity, even though it is not about aesthetics, it is those obesity is a symbol of certain unhealthy lifestyle. So regardless of whether it is if suppose some regardless of whether it is socially desirable or not, you should try to change yourself.
right.
That is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
even
Same goes for
yeah, even
psychological
he
things.
says that. I think he was trying to answer it. I think someone asked him a question from the point of view of like fairness. Is it fair that someone gets the traits that are considered positive or better, and those kind of questions? So his response was basically, it's not fair or unfair. It is random.
Hmm.
And so after that, he does not. I say I don't think he ever, of all the videos I watched, he does not like consider any trait to be better than the other or something like that. Like there is no hierarchy in that sense. But he says that depending on your goal,
Uh,
or Whatever
uh,
you're trying to achieve, if a particular trait is hindering
yes,
that, is a what's the
stopping you
word,
from doing that. Yes, yes,
obstacle in that
correct,
path, yeah, then it is in your best interest to change whatever
yes,
is possible.
correct,
So, and for that, I think, and oh yeah, and he also mentioned about the
okay,
consciousness thing, because no matter what kind of traits or temperament you have, you will have to be disciplined
yes,
in some
definitely.
sense.
That is,
But if
uh,
you are less consciousness, then you will not have the discipline itself to improve your
uh,
discipline.
correct, correct.
So that is
That,
I don't think he mentioned or like he talked about the solution to this problem in the video, but he pointed out this tricky situation where less consciousness people will have more difficulty being conscientiousness
yes,
because they lack
yes,
conscientiousness.
that's a very tough word to say. Yes, yes. So when I was in school, I think so. I was in class nine. Yes, probably I was in class nine. So there some person came from outside. He was, I think so. He lived in India at the time, but he was not Indian. He was some white person.
Okay.
I don't remember. I actually forgot his name. So he was some kind of career guidance sort of
Right.
person. So he took a personality test. Uh, uh, do you remember? Did he take your test? I think you were there in the school, but maybe he didn't take because you're
I
too
don't
young.
remember that.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, they probably didn't take your test for your classes. So for I think so for class 9 and 10, I think it was only for class 9 and 10. So there it was like a set of multiple choice questions. It was long, probably 100, probably around 50 or probably 100 questions. So I think so those are different kind of personal questions were asked, like do you like this or not, or how do you rate yourself? Those kind of questions that I think so. I You might have seen those kind of
This
questions.
kind of,
So yes. So after a few days, a report came, and based on that, I think so. They gave each and every person who took that test, they gave them top three or top five career upward
yeah,
choices based on your
yeah,
personality. I still remember the first choice, which was science writer or science reporter, something like that.
okay,
So, and there was a rationale behind it, or the definition of that job or something was written there. So I still remember that. So it was science reporter or science writer, something like that. And he says that based on your traits, you have a tendency to look into things deeply and tendency to try to explain it in a simpler word. So you can, as a career, you can, as a science writer, you can just try to understand complex ideas and distill it for the general audience or something like that. That is what the report said. And there are other three, four other options as well, but I don't remember this. But the first one, I still remember very clearly. And the thing is, uh, he was very that report is outside that instinctively that was very correct, and
yeah,
because the things that I do with my blog, or what the things that I do when I write, uh, or do the research about the blog,
yeah,
that makes very good sense. So it is very much natural for me to do this
yeah,
because I think so because at some level one of these five traits play a part in this. The thing about
you
neuroticism,
notice it.
I would say that yes, I have. I think so. I'm probably much higher in that. And the advantage of it is that I try to look into it very. These things allows me to go very deep into a topic, and then not just uh, stop at the first definition. I look at something. I try to get. I try. It makes me want to try to understand things at a deeper level, or to know the big picture.
Right.
But being aware of it matters, because the thing is that otherwise, if I was not aware that this trait of me exists, I'd just go into a rabbit hole and never come out of it. I'll go on for hours and hours and hours. So because I'm aware of it, so it helps me that okay, that okay, now I have decent enough information to write a post about it or to explain it in easier and not just go into some endless rabbit hole about the topic. So this, I would say, so that is what the point I'm trying to make is that if you have certain characteristics, so probably you should try to make a career or try to do things that are in line with your traits, and at the same time try to improve or work on those things that are actually hindering you from
Yeah.
trying to achieve those things. So based on my personality, I'll probably not be some kind of a stage host or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Or and actually, I don't think so that I should even try to do that because it's like you are a right-handed batsman and you're trying to become a left-handed batsman just because it is much more. You saw someone on TV that here, oh, he's a very good left-handed batsman. But even though I'm like, for example, this right-handed or left-handed, it is biologically made for it is near this whatever is neural networks or whatever it is. For me to try to be a left-handed batsman, it would take
Yeah.
way lot more effort to do that. So that's what I'm trying to say.
My takeaway also from this thing is, if you like put it in the point of view of statistics,
Hmm.
whatever trait or whatever variation of trait we got, we should try to some degree bring it closer to the mean.
Okay.
Like because
Good.
most traits will follow this bell curve.
Okay.
Right? Most people will be
Uh,
in the middle for everything. So if you are towards the extreme of any kind of
hmm.
trait, extreme of either being being too extroverted is also no good, not good. Being too introverted is also
Yeah,
not good.
definitely.
If you see yourself, if the deviation is too high for you
Okay.
in any particular trait, then you should try to whatever extent possible bring yourself closer to the
Uh,
mean.
okay, to a degree, I agree on it, but
It
not.
won't be possible to get completely to the mean.
Uh, but
Whatever the genetic what is the word,
genetic,
genetic
whatever is, I understand.
yeah,
Or whatever will give.
yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, so if, let's say this,
Yes. Yeah.
for suppose for extroversion itself,
Okay.
if you are already in the extreme somewhere
Hmm.
here, there is like really no positives of being here. There is no positives of being here either.
Okay. Okay.
Both of those are extreme states. If you identify yourself as
Hmm.
being here, you should do things. I mean, you will not reach the mean,
Uh, yeah.
the mean, yeah,
Yes.
the mean or
Yes.
the median.
Mean.
I don't
Mean.
know what is
Yes.
it.
For the
Mean, I think
mean.
so. Yeah. So whatever to whatever extent possible, maybe after a lot of effort you'll reach here.
Okay.
But that is better than being at the extreme end.
Yes. Okay. The way I see it is
I-
okay.
If
You
if you are
complete
already
this. Okay.
somewhere here or you're somewhere here,
Hmm.
that is kind of the acceptable range. It's okay either this if you're this way, let's say you're somewhat more introverted.
Okay.
If you're here, you're mostly extroverted,
Okay.
but not too much.
Okay.
But if you're somewhere here, you're kind of the stereotypical introverted, like situation scenarios people think
Uh,
of, like scared, not doesn't talk to anyone, doesn't do
uh,
anything, does not get out, those kind
okay.
of stereotypes. So if you are at this extreme, you should try to bring yourself somewhere around here, or whatever extent possible.
Okay.
That at least I believe that much.
Okay. So the way so my interpretation or the way what I believe is that uh, there is a saying which says that what does what you give up uh, is worth that's what okay, I forgot what it is. What you give up is worth more than what you are willing to choose or something. Just something like that. Okay, that is irrelevant. I'll talk about it later. What I see is that If okay, let me talk about conscientious much of an workaholic.
Okay.
So, for example, and they achieved a lot of success as a result, but there are some other factors of their lives may be affected. For example, look at the recently top billionaires: Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk. They are from career-wise, they are very successful person.
Yeah.
But both Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, they have had divorces, and Elon
Yeah.
Musk, he marries every 2 or 3 years. So that is irrelevant. In a Western culture, that is quite common. But the thing is, he also has 5 children, and one of his I recently heard that one of his children has changed his name and doesn't want to be associated with the name Musk anymore. So this kind of things is happening in his personal life. So the thing is that uh, he has given, yes, now the quote, I think so the quote will make sense. The thing is that you are trying to give up something in exchange for some other person, the other person. Giving up is less than what you are working on. If you have two choices, as long as you're thinking that the choice that I'm sacrificing is worth the choice that I'm choosing to pursue, uh, as long as in your mind that is justifiable, then go ahead. So for that, you might so coming to the mean may not always be the, I think, that be the correct option for each and every person.
Or
Okay.
maybe, yeah, I think we have 1 minute left.
Yes.
Should we finish this?
So I can continue a little bit so I can explain this part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me stop and start again.
Okay.